Hey guys, these are the Stihl HLA 65s. When I first saw these in the shop, I was a little bit dubious because the motor's actually in the head, so there was a fair sort of bit of weight there. You can see where I've had to put the balance point. Blade speed seemed a little low from what I was used to with the with both the two-stroke and the electric machines. And I wasn't, you know, and the gearbox is sort of plastic under there, so you've actually got to take out 3 of these screws and drop that out to get to the gearbox and grease it up. Yeah, I wasn't overly convinced when I saw them in the shop, but I've been using them now on some fairly big jobs for the last sort of 2 or 3 months, and the more I use them, the more I'm convinced they're the best pair of head shears I've ever had. And I've had quite a few of the Stihls, both electric and two-stroke, the Shindaiwas and the Echoes too. I've probably been professionally pruning hedges since '95. It's what I do for a job, so I use them a lot, but these things are brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Now the battery, I'll show you this. That's the AP300 battery. Now I can put that in fully charged and start a job at about 8 AM, and more often than not it's still going at 1 PM when I stop for lunch. They claim 3 hours by the time you put sort of, you know, a bit of raking up and ladder work in there. I've been getting 4 and 5 hours out of that, and I rarely had to go to my backup battery. It's pretty weighty, and it's full of the 18650 cells, which are what's used in the good LED torches these days, and also you'll find them in your computer battery packs. There's a whole bunch of them in there, you can see them, all lithium ion stuff. Takes about an hour and a quarter to charge that in the medium fast charger. Now it just clicks in the back there. It only goes in one way. There's a couple of channels in there that stop you putting it in the wrong way. They're quite light. They're much lighter than either the two-strokes or the electric versions. You can see where my point of balance is. That's where I've moved the handle with that particular battery. Just a tiny bit nose heavy, but that's okay. But being lighter, they're much less fatiguing to use over time. Balance hasn't been an issue. There's only been the odd time when I've really been reaching to get the last few inches out of it that they get a little bit nose heavy, but really that doesn't bother me. They're much, as soon as you pick up the two-strokes or the electrics there, instantly you feel the extra kilogram of weight in them. So yeah, at the end of the day, I'm much less fatigued using these. I can use them without earmuffs because they're not that loud. They do a really nice job of cutting, as you can see with the cypress hedge, and I'm really impressed. These are the best pair of hedge shears I have had since '95. I've probably gone through over a dozen pair. They are bloody brilliant. Really nice blades on them. They've got the proper same as they put on the professional blades, even though the gearbox is you get to it either from a plastic flap on the bottom. When I have to replace them, I'm up for $429 just to buy the head shears without the battery and the charger. And even if they were to only last me 12 months or less, that's still worth it. I'm not having a bloody start-up two-stroke engines, don't have to put up with the pollution, don't have to drag a cord around myself, don't have to wear earmuffs. So absolutely worth every cent of it. And I've given these a pretty good go over the last 3 months with some really big jobs. Like I say, I reckon they're the best pair I've ever used. So if you're considering a pair, even as a professional, yeah, go for it. So might be a little bit, you think, oh, they're a bit dinky in the shop, but get out and use them and just see how good they are. I didn't buy them thinking that I'd be putting them into, like, you know, 12-month growth on hawthorn or natives and stuff and really giving them a hard time. I thought, you know, I'll just do the usual 2 annual shear, you know, stuff like this sort of cypress hedge. Now this is sort of typical, and this sort of stuff and smaller. you know, big jobs, but the machine's not working hard to do them. And that's sort of the usage I figured I'd give them, and I'm hoping I'll get sort of over 12 months out of them like that. But when I have thrown them at the odd heavier stuff in natives and that, and asked them to cut through a bit thicker stuff, they do so quite well. They're surprisingly powerful. So yeah, I'd give them 9.5 out of 10, and I'd probably only take the half at, because I'd like this to be a one-handed, like on the Shindaiwas, you just press a lever and the whole thing pivots. Whereas this is a two-handed operation and relatively stiff to change the angles. Let me show you the angles it goes through. So the angles they'll go through are, that's about your, yeah, that's your maximum angle that way. There's another spot there. But it's quite stiff. It'll actually sit in between notches. They get a bit difficult to use when they're like that because of this extra weight. They'll tend to want to swing around on you, so keep that in mind. And then they go back into the park position. So that's the HLA 65s. Bloody ripper machine. Really impressed. Alright, back to work.